Welcome to the Process Breakdown Podcast, where we talk about streamlining and scaling operations of your company, getting rid of bottlenecks, and giving your employees all the information they need to be successful at their jobs. Now, let's get started with the show.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, host of the Process Breakdown Podcast, where we talk about streamlining and scaling operations of your company, getting rid of bottlenecks, and giving your staff everything they need to be successful at their job. Past guests include David Allen of Getting Things Done, Michael Gerber of the E-Myth, and many more. Check out other episodes. Before I introduce today's guest, this episode is brought to you by SweetProcess. And if you've had a team member, Florinela, you may be able to relate to this. If you've had a team member ask you the same question over and over, and it may be the 10th time you spent explaining it, there is a better way. There is a solution. SweetProcess is actually a software that makes it drop dead easy to train and onboard new staff and save time with existing staff. And I was talking to Owen, the owner. Not only do universities, banks, hospitals, and software companies use them, but first responder government agencies use them in life or death situations to run their operations. So you can use SweetProcess to document all the repetitive tasks that eat up your precious time so you can focus on growing your team. You could sign up for a free 14-day trial. No credit card is required. You can go to sweetprocess.com, sweet like candy, SWEET, process.com. And I'm excited to introduce today's guest, Florinela Serban. She's head of operations at Onogo. And Onogo is the home of top brands, thousands of top brands even. And Florinela, thanks for joining me.
Hello, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
I want to talk about Onogo and what you guys do, and talk about some of the favorite products, maybe your favorite products, some of the staff's favorite products that I was looking on it this morning, and I was seeing there's a combing dispenser for dogs. I'm like, I need to get that for my dog. What are some of the favorite products?
All right. Well, Onogo is a small company that started back in 2008 in Jersey, in a small warehouse by a very passionate enthusiast person. That's our director. And the business grew year by year and reached out to being an international seller today on various platforms, including Amazon, where our status is an elite Amazon seller. And we earn this through, continuous improvement. You asked me about favorite products.
Yeah.
It would be difficult to just name few. As you notice on our website, our category of products is so varied. We sell from pet accessories to health and beauty products, auto products, and a variety of products overall. Overall, we handle over 5,000 different SKUs that we sell, and we dispatch over 5,000 orders daily.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yes, it is.
That's a lot to coordinate.
The tiny island of Jersey.
Yeah, I was looking in, there's a pet remedy calming plug-in diffuser. You do have a wide range of products, just watches and calculators and chargers and everything else. What is your, as operations of someone that sends out so much, it's coordinating so much on a daily basis. How did you get into this e-commerce world?
Well, I joined the company more than 5 years ago as a customer service manager. So I helped build the customer service department. And as we grew and expanded, the operations role was created. There was much need for it. And hence why I moved into this role, also because I'm very passionate about systems and automation and process. And with the volume that we had incoming, we had to make a lot of change and to be able to keep up with the times and the requirements. coming from our customers and from our partners. And you cannot sustain the growth unless you have process in place, you have structure, and people know what they need to do in order to deliver on the daily requirements.
Florinela, tell me, every company, really strives to, I mean, not every, but most companies strive to have the best customer service they could have, right? What are some things you help to implement there that maybe other companies should be using from a customer service standpoint? What are some of the best practices that you found?
Well, obviously, it's always looking at everything through the customer's eye, and having that outside in view, not inside out, not just think about how are we going to make more money, how are we going to make more sales, but do not think on what's the impact on our customer, what's the impact on our, participation out there, and on our brand as a business. So always making provisions to ensure you review your practices. Are we still up to date? Do we still need to adjust and tweak? Is this what our customers are looking for from us? Are we really catering for them? Or again, are we just looking at, okay, we just want to send replies out there without taking the personal approach or interest to create that comeback and loyalty. So there's a lot that can be done nowadays. Of course, we live in a world that you have to rely heavily on partners, and I'm talking logistic partners, and that there's competition out there. So it's working in customer service. It's an ongoing progress and update. You can't put in place a system and expect that system to still be working and be valid, let's say in half a year or 1 year time. So it's a very fast-paced environment. We're all not just customer service, but operations and overall our business as a e-commerce seller.
Yeah, I mean, operations directly touches customer service because if something doesn't get out the door, that causes probably a huge issue. So it seems like almost like a natural extension of you going from the customer service to the operations. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's still very much related nowadays. 1 year after I've taken the role, I still come back and I'm still part of creating the end customer strategy because everything is related, and every department, every impact, it goes back to the customer and then, comes back to us. So yeah, everything is related.
You mentioned, Florinela, systems, processes. How did you discover SweetProcess?
Well, when I took on the role, the immediate need for our company was to start documenting processes and procedures. We are, well, a very extended team now, but we started growing, let's say, from 40 or so team members a year ago now to over 70. But at that point in time, when I took on the role, although the team was doing really well, everyone knew what they were doing, and I was very, very proud to be part of that team. As we projected growth and we were seeing where we're heading, we knew that we needed to make provisions for growing the team and bringing, more people into the picture. That meant we needed to make provision of process awareness. How would we train those people? What time we would need to invest in that if we didn't have documented procedures to help with that? And then again, as we grew and as expected, as part of this ongoing change that's our business, we needed again to increase awareness on our processes and look at the knock-on effect on all the departments that we could not prevent from happening because, again, we didn't have the process awareness, we didn't have the documentation, and we were so busy that we didn't have time to stop and do that. So that was my first task on the role, to make sure that I'm looking for a solution to help us get on quickly with documenting our main processes and procedures to be able to sustain the growth that was already happening. And again, I didn't want to just start documenting procedures on a Google Doc document or create some charts, and then they would be just left in a drawer and nobody will look at it. I wanted to do something more, and I knew that there were options out there that would make it more interactive, more appealing. And again, it would have to be something that would grow with the business. So I went out there and I did some research, and I trialed about three different softwares. And one of them was SweetProcess. And out of all of them, SweetProcess proved to be by far the best option for us. It was very easy to get on with it, to adapt, to figure out. And it not only presented a platform to document the procedures and to bring all the teams on board on it and, make it interactive, but it provided, an option for, okay, let's get all the information that we have in one place, because that was another issue as well. And I'm sure this is something that every company struggles with and will continue to struggle if they don't stop and pause and look at, okay, we need to make sure we put everything, for easy access under one umbrella, give it an access to everybody, and make sure we can keep updating it.
Yeah. Florinela, it's interesting. You had the foresight to want to create a solution that would be long lasting instead of because you were probably super busy at the time too. And you probably could have put like a patch on it and just started creating something in a Google Doc, but you're like, this isn't going to grow with our company. And I can see you probably had a good team like most people, but it was all in their heads. And as you grow quickly, that seemed like the main kind of pain point in propelling you to get something, because if you hire and you have this fast growth, they all need to know the same thing that the staff that have been there for a long time that they just probably naturally have done for the past years, right? So it was really growth purpose. You wanted to make sure to bring on great people, but also give them the training to do it. And you said you tried three. And I'm wondering what stuck out. What were the biggest differences between SweetProcess and the other ones when you tried them? Do you remember at the time?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I looked at it through not only through my eyes, but through the eyes of any one of my colleagues looking at it, because I wanted, I needed, and I wanted a system and an option that would appeal to everybody. So the less complicated it would be, the, ease of implementation, or how straightforward it is, how much time we have to invest in training people to use it in the first place. So all these things I had to take into consideration. And yes, that was the main difference with SweetProcess that appealed to me, the ease of use and navigate and get around and just get on and adding information and content to it. And then there's a lot that you can also do with the content. So we can add videos and photos and links to more information elsewhere. And not only that, but then you can run it as tasks. And on the back of that, there's a lot of other data that you can use on activity logs and enable the sign-off feature to make sure that, okay, again, talking about that engagement and collaboration and keeping it live. So you want people to make sure it's there. If there is a change in it, they all get a notification. Okay, this procedure in my department has just had an update.
That's pretty cool.
I'm gonna have a look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially because it makes people follow the procedure. If they're like, oh yeah, I've done this a million times, and then they get notified there's a change, they know that they need to maybe look at it closer the next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It seems like, well, the biggest thing you were looking for was ease of use, that this, so you'd implement it, but it actually be used, and it's easy to do, and it can be interactive. So it's just easier to explain procedures. Um, and it seems like for you, maybe the activity logs are big. Some of the notifications are helpful. Is there anything that sticks out, not just from your mind, but from the staff's mind, of what's made their job easier, what they like about using SweetProcess?
Well, once we finish, let's say, documenting procedures for the first two main departments that we did, everyone started appreciating, okay, having the procedures and using them to train their new colleagues. So that was the main input. Mind you, we're still on a journey, as in we're nearly finishing now documenting all the departments, because we're a big company, so there's several departments.
It takes a long
Everyone,
time to do
yeah.
that stuff, and it's always changing. You're probably, people are always improving. They're probably on a daily basis. So
Yeah, absolutely. But again, the beauty of it is that apart from it being a change to begin with, so you still have to go through the implementation phases, and getting the acceptance from the team. But then once they start working together with you on documenting their procedures, and then once they see, okay, now we see what the procedure does, so could we make it better? So there's still a lot more to achieve from that. As I said, my intention and my view for SweetProcess is to grow with the business. So for us, documenting all the procedures and having them there for our colleagues to use it to train people, this is just like a first stage. From that, we're going to continue reviewing and looking at ways to optimize it. But we have that knowledge now. We have the awareness. We are driving towards that uniformity, everybody using the same type of process, and that's going to help streamline the flow around the teams and processes overall. So it's a continuous improvement, and SweetProcess is a big part of that.
I don't know how you feel about it. When I hear something like that, it makes me be able to sleep better at night. Like a sigh of relief, like, okay, we got it. We got it out of everyone's head. We can actually, we have a process for when someone comes on that's new, to kind of set them loose on the knowledge base. What's been the biggest game changer for you through this process of implementing it?
But that would be the uniformity I just mentioned. As I said, we have, let's say, for example, the sales team that we documented all their procedures, and the great bunch of people, very dynamic, very good at what they do. It's one reason why we're so successful. But in the same time, they've all have kind of different ways of doing basically the same process. So bringing them all together and getting the agreement to, okay, let's do a standard of this process. What's the best version of it that we could use, and look at efficiency and time reduction and all these things. So that was the biggest game changer. And as I said, we're still in that journey. We've made great progress, but we're still on that journey to still get out to get to the point where we can take that content that we all agree on and look for ways to to streamline it and optimize it for everyone's benefit. Basically, we're all so busy and so important.
Yeah, Florinela, tell me, how has it changed your typical day? Now that you're kind of in the next phase of, okay, we executed this on a bunch of different departments, and now we're starting to use it. How has it changed your day?
Well, I was talking earlier about the fact that we're coming closer to having mostly all the procedures documented for all departments. The next step, and this is something I've already worked and it's ready to implement. On the back of all the procedures, I developed process improvement framework. And so, as I said, we're going to continue to take forward everything that we have, the content that we have, and look at it and look for ways to either automate workflows, see do we need a reduction of the steps? Do we really need all this input? Again, in a fast environment, there's always so much information and input needed, and it's important that we pause and review our processes, and we look at ways to simplify things for us, because it's so easy to get overloaded and overly complicated. So this is the next phase, looking at how do we simplify things now that we have the content, now that we agree on it, now that we have the tools to feedback on it, and that's through SweetProcess. So this is what mainly the framework is based on. Continuous implementation of the improvement of the procedures to basically simplify life for everybody and remove that burden of, okay, I have to remember what I need to do. I have to remember to maybe give some feedback and change the way we do things around these areas.
I love that. It's almost like there's documentation, there's unification, and then there's your optimization. You're optimizing it, and that process improvement is the next exciting step, which is great. Let's make everyone's job. What that really means is let's make everyone's job easier, or faster, and better. And have you found anything yet? And maybe it's too early. That you're like, oh, now we have it laid out. I can see we could not stop doing this that we used to maybe did 7 years ago because our process changed or whatever it is. Is there anything that you have seen that like, oh, this immediately we were able to optimize and maybe stop doing or improve? What sticks out from the optimization standpoint to you?
Yes, so there's a lot of things from starting, let's say, having information in various places. Yeah. So just reducing time to look for information or to remember information. So now that you can go to SweetProcess and find the information, related to your role and your duties there. You don't need to search in Google Drive or Asana or other documentation, or make notes separately, and again burden yourself with load of information elsewhere that then probably in a week or 2 weeks time you forget about it and you need to remember where you put it. So that's one thing. The other thing coming out of the procedures and the awareness is looking at our practices, and the fact that some of the departments were not aware that maybe there was some duplication in their tasks, and that's a huge step. So this is what process content gave us the awareness that, okay, wait a minute, you are looking at this invoice once, and probably I'm going to look again in a week time. So what can we do about it? And we found solutions for that. So it's huge to have the awareness to be open to changes, because that's the big thing as well that comes once you go for optimization. It means changing manners and changing practices. So finding the optimal solution, that once that change is done, actually benefits the individual and the company as well.
Florinela, so I have one last question for you. First of all, thank you. Thanks for sharing your knowledge, because I think in any business, how we streamline operations is key. So I really appreciate you sharing that. Before I ask the last question, people can check out onogo.com, onogo.com. And do you deliver all over the UK? Where do you deliver?
We deliver internationally.
Internationally. So we're
Yes.
like US, anywhere?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're part of international platforms such as Amazon, eBay, Cdiscount, Price Minister, and we deliver worldwide.
Very cool. So people can go to your website and order, or they can go to Amazon and find you guys on Amazon as well.
And find us there as a seller.
All right.
Absolutely. Yes.
Check them out. check out all the cool products. I love looking through the stuff for, various birthdays or gifts or whatever it is. So, last question, Florinela, and people always are thinking, what's the next step if they're listening that they should take to streamline their operations? When you were first taking this big elephant, right? To take an elephant, you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? What did you do? What do you recommend people do to start streamlining their operations and documenting?
Basically, just go back to the basics. Yeah, go back to the basics and look, how are we doing things, and ask the question: Are we doing it right? Is there another way? Is there a better way to do it? Just don't accept stagnation as something normal, because there's so much help out there, and there's so much opportunity, such as SweetProcess, that I could not go back now to where we were before, and not having all the knowledge and the information that documenting procedures and processes allowed us as SweetProcess to have it. I cannot go back to not having that. It's something that I cannot see it.
Yeah, once you have it, you're like, how did, a lot of times with things like this, how did we live without this in the first place? Because you depend on it so much, it sounds like.
Well, yes, because of all the opportunities that it offers. That's the thing. We manage? Yes, we did manage. But were we able to scale? No, not without taking this step. So I think it's major for any growing company to make sure that on time they start looking at processes and storing their information, because you have people with the knowledge, and you need to make sure that knowledge is shared and is kept also with the company. So there's major benefits on taking a step to start documenting, start storing information, start looking at optimizing processes.
Florinela would be the first one to thank you. Thank you. Check out onogo.com. Check them out on Amazon. Check out more episodes of the podcast. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Process Breakdown Podcast. Before you go, quick question. Do you want a tool that makes it easy to document processes, procedures, and/or policies for your company so that your employees have all the information they need to be successful at their job? If yes, sign up for a free 14-day trial of SweetProcess. No credit card is required to sign up. Go to sweetprocess.com, sweet like candy, and process like process.com. Go now to sweetprocess.com and sign up for your risk-free 14-day trial.
Hi, this is Owen, the CEO and co-founder here at SweetProcess. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast interview, actually, you know what I want you to do? Go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. That way we get more people aware of the good stuff that you get here on this podcast. Again, go on to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review. Looking forward to reading your review. Have a good day.